All right, welcome back to season 5 of our show. And today it's rib, 3 racks. We're spicing them up good. Let's show you how to get them done. All right, so today is ribs, and everybody likes a fantastic rib. So today we're showing you a sweet and savory rib. So right here we got some sugar. That's just white sugar, paprika, rosemary. This is all dry, and thyme, vinegar, black pepper, olive oil, and kosher salt. So the first thing we're going to do is just get all of the white ingredients on first so you can see what you're working with. So we're going in with just a little bit of salt. Now normally I don't salt my ribs, but for this dish, because we're going in sweet, we're going to salt them. So I'm going to go in just the fronts with the salt, followed by the sugar. If you guys don't want to use white sugar, you could feel free to use any sugar you want, brown sugar. But the white just seems to fold beautifully on these ribs. All right, so here's our dry ingredients. We're going into the mortar with them. So there's the rosemary, there's the thyme, and we're going to go in with some paprika, with some flavor and color. Not much. So let's just hit this. Now we're grinding this up, but we don't want to grind it to a fine powder. That's why we're using the mortar and pestle. So if you don't want to go really fine with it, and you still want to see those spices on there, use this. And the flavors will come out here beautifully. So I use this all the time. And as we get further into our videos, you guys that watch these videos, you can see how they're starting to get a little bit more intense. So we kind of went easy the last couple of seasons, and now as we get further in depth and more into the seasons, they're going to get a little bit more in depth. So they certainly won't get boring on you. All right, so we have that. Vinegar. So this is how I do my ribs. I always put the vinegar on. It's going to help rub everything around. And it's also going to open the pores of the rib. And it's also going to clean the rib. So they were rinsed and clean, but we're going over with the vinegar just to make them more tender. All right, there we go. I'm going to turn it back over. And now I'm going to get in my spices. So here we go. Just hit it with a good amount of that spice. Just like that. And that's all you need. I'm going to flip them over. We're going to do the backs. And we're leaving the membrane on. I don't ever take the membrane off of my ribs. You want to dry a rib out? Take the membrane off. Especially if you're going directly onto the cooker with this. All right, so let's just rub that in a little bit. And then we go in with olive oil. Just a touch of the olive oil. And we're gonna rub that in. That's gonna set the color. And just make that rub stick a little bit more better to these ribs. There it is. Very simple seasoning. And make it yours, as much or as little of anything you want to put on here. As long as it's sweet, as long as it's savory, you're good to go. All right, and last but not least, little peppercorn. This is black peppercorn. They're just cracked. Because you gotta have that nice spice to it. So you got the heat here too, with the sweet and the savory. And look at that. That looks like a beautiful rib. All right, so onto the rack we go. Now we're putting all 3 of these on a rack today, as you'll see when we get out to the cooker. But this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna switch ribs. And into the rack, just like this, they go. And we're gonna cook these guys just like that. So stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so we got these ribs nice and seasoned up, and when you're done putting them in these racks, it should look just like this. Now you can buy these racks at your local Walmart. Most of your grilling stores have them, but it's made to hold a few racks of ribs. And I tucked in the ends of them on the side here, so if you're worried about the ends burning, tuck them in and you never have to worry about that. And you can chop them off at the end and make beautiful rib tips. All right, on to the grill we go. All right, 280 degrees, let's roll. That's it. Get that whole tray just like that, and away we go. All right, let's check this out. Look at those guys. They're about an hour in. And I'm cooking direct, there's no diffuser. You can see the fire under there. I always cook direct, I don't use diffusers. Or I'll slide the coals off to the side, so that's it. I'm going to close back up, maintain my fire, and let these run for about another couple hours. We'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so our theme is sweet and savory, and right now we're showing you a never seen before cornbread. Let's show you how to get it done. Alright, so we're making a beautiful never seen before cornbread. For this you're going to need a 50-50 mixture of cornmeal and flour. So that's what we have here. Now, to each cup of flour and to each cup of cornmeal you're going to need a half a teaspoon of baking powder, baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, sugar to taste in here if you want any sugar at all, and we're cooking this at 425 degrees. So over here, now this is what makes this cornbread so unique. We've got dry cranberry, black peppercorns, those are cracked black peppercorns that we crushed ourselves. We have lard here. And this is in its unheated form, and this is just heated. Buttermilk and 4 eggs. Captain, that's the secret here. We're going in with a little Captain, a good amount of spiced rum. You can use any rum you want, but this one is the kicker. So we're just gonna mix that in with the egg. And this is a very unique flavor that you're going to taste. Like I said, nobody's got this recipe, but I'm giving it to you guys today. All right, so that's mixed in. Let's go in with some buttermilk. Now we don't want to overdo it because we're going to have to add all the ingredients over. Now I never measure anything. I gave you guys these measurements, but I eyeball everything. And as far as baking goes, I'm not going to say I'm the greatest baker in the world, and I'm not going to say I'm the worst, but I can get it done. All right, so a little bit more of that buttermilk. I mean, I do know some bakers out there that are beautiful bakers, and I am no match compared to those bakers. A little bit more buttermilk. But the things I do well. So always do something you like. And I like cornbread. And you never go wrong with doing things that you like to do. That's number one. If you do something you don't like to do, don't do it. All right, so here we go. That's a bit dry, and that's where I want it for now. I'm going to add my egg in. I'm going to add my oil in. And last, I'm going to add the cranberries to show you how to bring this together. So I'm bringing more moisture in. And like I said, we don't want to overdo it because you can see how wet it's getting now. Now we preheat an oven at 425 degrees. This is where you want to go in with that, and you want to preferably use a cast iron pan with this. See what I'm saying? Now you can look at it. Now you see why I didn't go too heavy with the milk. Because look at that, it's coming together already. We're almost right where we need it to be. If you mix it in the middle, you'll see there's a powder in there. And we're just going to get it past that little powdery stage. And there we almost have it. Just a touch more milk. And that should be about perfect. There we go. And now, the cranberries. As much or as little as you guys like. Look at that. And it's coming along beautifully. So that's where you're going to want that, just like that. And that is a little thick. I'm going to add a little bit more milk. And that should be spot on. All right, there we go. Now I added a lot of cornmeal to this. If you go with more flour, it's going to be more cakey. I don't add any sugar in here. You can if you want, but I don't add any sugar. The cranberries have it in here. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to slide this off to the side. And I'm going to bring in my cast. Let's get this in. Now you can do a couple of things. You can heat this up on the stove. I have it oiled with lard. That's right. My favorite to cook with, lard. It's healthier than vegetable oil. And this is just a step down from olive oil, which a lot of people don't know. If you guys want to check out my video, why I like to cook with lard, it'll tell you a little bit more why I like to cook with lard. All right, so here we go. We're just going to even this out. Going to spread it evenly. Just like that. I like to give it a shake. There we go. And here is, I'm going to take my hand and just clean up the edges of this. This way it comes out nice. All right, and here's the kicker. Peppercorns. Probably want to know where I was putting them. Here we go. Black cracked peppercorns. And we eat this, I'll explain to you why I put these in and the flavor that it gives at the end when we're eating this. As much, again, or as little as you guys like. Make it yours. This is my recipe. You'll never see this again unless somebody else goes and makes it. Then you'll know where it came from. Barbecue Southern style. There it is. 425 degrees, in the oven we go. We'll meet you right back here. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right. 30 minutes or until golden. We'll meet you back here. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so that gorgeous cornbread is inside the oven. The ribs are out there. They're almost done. Let's show you a beautiful bacon and cabbage dish. All right, so we're showing you a beautiful bacon and cabbage dish. So right here I have some cured bacon. Now I cured that myself. Vinegar. This is apple cider vinegar. Garlic, some crushed garlic. A little pepper, red pepper, chili pepper. Cabbage. Over here we have our bell peppers. Some red, some orange, and scallions, of course. All right, so let's just get this going. We're going to cut up our bacon, and I'm just going to show you how we're cutting that up. Now, if you guys have the opportunity to get fresh bacon, always use it. I mean, this is slab bacon. Look at that. So we're going to cut it like that. Get all those nice pieces right into our cabbage. So we're going to cut this up, and we're going to meet you onto the stove, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, 3 hours in, we're pulling. Whew. That's the nice thing about cooking on an insulated cooker, is that you don't have to baste these. Look at those, beautiful. All right, we're gonna meet you guys indoors, and we're gonna cover these up, and we're gonna show you the rest of the meal, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so our bacon is starting to render down, and we're rendering down some of that fat that's in there. And we're gonna leave all that fat that's in there, right in there. We're not gonna remove any of that fat, because we're gonna need all that fat. So let's just get this nice and rendered down. At the end, we can always remove the fat, but not now. So we're gonna go in with some garlic. Let's bring some flavor out of that garlic. You don't want to go too long on the garlic, just bring some flavor out. Scallion. Green onion. That's what scallion are, they're green onion. For those of you guys that didn't know. So we're going to cook that down, bring some flavor out of it. And now, we're going to add just a touch of red chili flakes here. And you want to bring the heat out of those. If you put them in after you put everything else in, it's not going to bring that flavor out. So you want to cook the heat out of there. All right, and that look good? Now we're bringing that together. Now we're going to add the cabbage. Looks like a small pan, but believe me, it's all going to wilt down beautifully in here. And after we get a couple of seconds on this, we're going to add the peppers. So just add all of the cabbage and let it cook down in there. Just like that. Now this is a fried cabbage and we're really frying it up. That's why you want to leave all that fat in there. All right, so nothing goes to waste. There's the rest of it. We're gonna cook this down a little bit, then we're gonna get our peppers in. We're gonna meet you right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so our cabbage is starting to cook down. Now, we're just gonna hit this with just a little bit of salt. That's about it. Just a little bit, you don't need much in here. And here is our peppers. So, as you can see, the cabbage has started to wilt down. And this is what you're looking for. And all that nice bacon's on there. And now we're going to start to add the peppers. And just add them all in there. And let them cook down. And they kind of release a sweetness in here. They'll go great with the saltiness. And they'll just work together with the cabbage. All right, we're going to cook this down some more, and then we're going to meet you back here and show you the rest of this. And on to the table we go. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so now our cabbage is cooked down with our peppers. I want you to guys to just see that. See, it wasn't a lot of oil or a lot of fat. That's what we have. And a lot of that was olive oil that we started this off with. In order to get this to cook down properly, you need that. All right, so now we want to add a touch of brightness to this. So apple cider vinegar. You could use white wine, but the vinegar actually works better. I'm going to put a good amount of that. And I'm going to let this cook down in here. What that's going to do is cut all that fat. And it's just going to bring a touch of brightness to this dish. All right, that's it. 5 minutes cooking time, and then we're going to meet you onto the chopping block, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, Sweet and Savory Ribs Season 5 chopping block. Let's show you what we got. Look at those guys. Beautiful. Now let's get into them. So I'm going to take this middle rack here. Now they're still hot, So I gotta get them off the rack here. And I'm just gonna pull them up this way. Just like that. And let's get them on the bench. Look at those guys. So I'm gonna turn them over and go down the back. Now these were no wrap ribs. And I could just break these if I want, just like that. But I'm gonna cut them, just so you can see what we're working with. Let's go down the middle. And let's just cut this rib out. Show you what we got. Look at that. Let me show you that rib. Look at that rib. Not bad for a no wrap rib, right? All three of them cooked together. Can't go wrong with these guys. Now let's just cut the rest of this rack up. Show you how to get into this. So the first thing I'll do, I'll just cut off this end over here. And we'll put this off to the side. Look at that. Beautiful. And then I'll just come down this way and just get into these ribs. Just like that. And now you got all these nice ribs. Now I cook these in 3 hours. So that's it. A 3-hour rib. How do you go wrong with that? Let's flip this over. Now this is that rib end that we tucked in. Look at that. This is why you don't have to worry about drying that out. Beautiful, right? So a lot of people that cut that off and waste it, or say they're going to do something with it and they never do, you don't have to anymore. So that's how you do that. So let's just cut this up. And it just falls right apart. So that's how you want to do that. And now you got a whole rack of ribs conveniently cooked. All right, so we're gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna get situated. I'm gonna cut all these ribs up, and then I'm gonna meet you back here and show you the rest of this meal, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, time to do this officially. Season 5 shopping block. Let's show you what we got. Look at those guys now all cut up. That's a big old tray there, right? 3 racks of ribs. Took me about 5 minutes to cut that up, not too bad. All right, let's bring in a plate. So we're plating up country style today. We're gonna bring in a nice cast iron. I feel it works well for this dish. And this is that cabbage. Doesn't that look beautiful? And let's just get some of that cabbage in there. And it's got all that nice broth down the bottom that it made on its own, basically. I'm gonna get a nice bit in there. Maybe a little bit more. And there we go. Let's turn that off to the side. And we're gonna get some ribs in here. So I'm just gonna pick a couple. You get a nice big one in here. And we'll get a couple of small ones in here. And we'll just do it like that. And this is that cornbread. So let's show you that. That nice, beautiful cornbread we made. Look at that. You can see everything in here. I'm just gonna break that in half. Just like that. And I'm just gonna put a nice chunk on the plate here. I'm gonna break it again, just so I can pick that up and eat it for you guys. There it is. That's how I'm plating up today. Let's get into it. I'm gonna try that rib. Look at that. Let's take a bite of that. Beautiful. You can taste the sweet. You can taste the spices in there, the herbs. I mean, that's just phenomenal. I cooked for 3 hours and it is tender as anything. Let's try that cabbage. All right, and before we try that cabbage, I just want to show you something. Look at this. Look at that rib. See how that just pulls apart? I mean, that was cooked in 3 hours. See that? It all just pulls right off the bone. 3 hours, no wrap. All right, let's try that cabbage. That cabbage is so rich with that bacon in there, but yet it's very subtle. Excellent combination, the cabbage with that bacon and those peppers. The peppers bring a sweetness to it. It sets it off. All right, let's try that cornbread. Man, look at that. This is what I've been waiting for, this beautiful cornbread. Let's give that a shot. Wow, outstanding, unique, extremely unique. If you're looking for a cornbread that you've never had before, this one's it. You can taste all the peppercorn. They go beautifully with that cranberry that's in there. And the rum, the spice rum that's in there, I mean, very, very, very unique. Excellent, excellent combination, all of it. All right, we're gonna get organized and we're gonna meet you right back here, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is, sweet and savory ribs. We knocked those out in just 3 hours, actually a little bit under 3 hours. And we served that with some beautiful cabbage, homemade bacon inside, an outstanding cornbread, a one of a kind. I highly suggest you guys take that recipe and make it yours, or keep it the exact way. You will not go wrong. We thank you guys. We enjoyed you coming, and with no further ado, gotta get that last pitmaster taste there.